ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। So in the morning we discussed the meaning of the word Upanishad, which means self-knowledge. The Upanishads reveal that Atma, self, is Brahman, as this Upanishad itself will say, Ayam Atma Brahma, this self is Brahman, so it is Brahma Vidya. It is said that Upanishad is part of Veda, consists of the Jnana Kanda of the Veda, and there are 4 principal Vedas. Each one has its own Upanishads. Rig Veda, the Aitareya Upanishad, Yajurveda, Ishavasya, Katha Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Samaveda, Kakera Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad, Atharva Veda, Mundaka Upanishad, Prashna Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad. So Mandukya Upanishad is part of Atharva Veda. Perhaps the Mandukeya Shakha of the Atharva Veda. So Mandukeya must be the name of the sage or Rishi who must have propagated this Veda or this Shakha recension. So Mandukeya Shakha. So Manduka must be the Rishi. And see, this Upanishad emerged from him, so it's called Mandukya Upanishad. There is no great formality as far as naming of the Upanishads is concerned. It's a very informal way of naming them. So since this Mandukya Upanishad belongs to the Atharva Veda, it is traditional to recite the corresponding Shanti Mantra or Shanti Patha before the commencement of the study of the Vedas, and therefore also before the commencement of study of the Upanishad. So we will recite the mantra, the Shanti Patha that is given to you. So let me recite and you repeat after me. Om Bhadram Karneभिः शृणुयाम देवाः Bhadram पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इंद्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ओम शांति शांति शांति। Traditionally, this Shanti Patha is recited collectively by the teacher and the students. It's called Shanti Patha because there is a prayer for Shanti or peace of mind. Basically, it's a prayer. In this instance, it is a prayer to Ishvara. Or prayer to Ishvara in the form of various presiding deities. The concept in the Vedas is that whatever is done in the world or universe at the cosmic level or at the individual level, whatever happens, happens by the grace of Ishvara. And therefore, the Ishvara's grace is sometimes described as various devatas. You can say various devatas, the presiding officers for conducting the affairs of the universe. And therefore, different devatas are in charge of various different functions. And in our own body, mind, sense complex also, the various functions that take place are because of the anugraha or the grace of the corresponding presiding deity. Now, this prayer that we recited is performed in the context of study of the Vedas. It can be studied in the form of reciting the Vedas, where the disciples, students go to the teacher and study the Vedas recital. Or it can be in the context of study of the Upanishad. And the prayer is done by both the teacher as well as the student. Both of them pray for the grace of Ishvara through the grace of different devatas. So here some of the presiding deities are mentioned, who are particularly relevant to the functions that are performed during the study session. The teacher is speaking, the students are listening, and the purpose of study, therefore, the teacher also should enjoy the grace of Ishvara, grace of Devatas, so that he is faithful to the scriptures which is unfolding. He sees clearly the meaning of the passages that he is unfolding. He has the right words to express them. So the expression must be right, must be precise, must be in keeping with the scriptures. Then only the teacher can be said to do the justice to the task that is performing. The students on their part should be receptive, should enjoy a receptive mind, should enjoy Shraddha, Bhakti, and a mind that is able to grasp the meaning of what is said and retain what is understood. Therefore, here the prayer is Om Bhadram Karnebihi Shriyama Devaha. Devaha is the Sambodhana. O Devas, O Devatas, Dyotana, Devaha, the shining ones. Some of the devatas we know, like the sun, the moon, the fire, they're all shining devatas. Effulgent, that's why the whole effulgent. To shine and illumine others also. O devataha, Bhadram Karnebihi Shrunuyama. Shrunuyama, may we listen to Bhadram, what is auspicious. Karnebihi, Karnehi, through our ears. May we listen to, through our ears, listen to that which is auspicious. Bhadram Bhajaniyam Kalyana Vachanam. Bhadram means that is auspicious, worshipful. Nirvishesha Brahma Pratipadaka Vedanta Jatam. Here they are praying that the Nirvishesha Brahma Pratipadaka Vedanta Jatam, the Vedanta which delineates the Nirvishesham Param Brahma, the Param Brahma without any Vishesh or attribute, the attributeless Param Brahma, that is the Kalyana, most auspicious. Ishvara of course is auspicious. Of that also, the Nirvishesha Brahma, which is Adhishtanam, substratum of everything, which imparts the Satta Sphurti, the existence and the awareness and intelligence to everything, which is of the nature of Ananda or fullness. So real Kalyan or auspicious in our life is happiness. And Brahman is of the nature of Ananda, of limitless happiness. And that is a very self. Therefore, speaking about Brahman, listening about Brahman is the most auspicious. So therefore, O Devatas, in this case, Karnebihi or Karnehi, through the ears may we hear was it auspicious. So students are listening to the unfoldment of the teacher. So may we listen to the unfoldment of Param Brahma, the most auspicious, through our ears. So may our ears be sharp and alert. Ears also include the mind. So may through the ears we listen to this auspicious unfoldment of Param Brahma. And may we grasp it, may we retain it. Bhadram Pashyema Akshabihi Yajatraha. Yajatraha also is addressed to Devatas, Sambodhana to Devatas. Yajna Hitrayante, those who protect us through yajnas, or Devatas who are invoked in the various yajnas or fire rituals. Akshabihi Bhadram Pashyema. Akshabi through eyes, maybe Pashyema see Bhadram the auspicious. So through the eyes we see what is auspicious. Here with eyes are only seeing the Guru basically. And for the disciples he is very auspicious. So may we see our Guru, may we see Ishvara, may we see what is auspicious everywhere. Because Ishvara is present everywhere. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahman. Therefore, grant us that with our eyes, not only we just see these names and forms, but then we also see what is auspicious that is present everywhere. The beauty that is present everywhere, the harmony that is present everywhere. Sthiraihi angaihi tushtavam saha tanubihi. Sthiraihi angaihi sthiraihi tanubihi tushtavam saha. Tushta stutim kurvana. Tushtavam saha, the form of the root stu means to praise or extol. Tushtavam saha, while singing the praise. Sthiraihi angaihi, possessed of, anga means limbs, sthiraihi the firm, possessed healthy or firm limbs. Tanubihi, tanu also can mean the speech. So healthy limbs, healthy body, healthy speech. Tushtivam saha, while praising the devatas. Vyashema devahitam yadayuhu. Yadayuhu devahitam. So that which is granted to us by the devata, by the prarabdha, whatever lifespan we have, may we spend that praising the devatas, devahitam, and in worship of the devatas. So with the firm limbs, with the firm right speech of the words, so with the speech, singing your grace or your praise, with the limbs serving you, O devatas, may we spend the rest of our life. So singing the glories, serving with the hands, singing with the speech. So this is the prayer, primary prayer. Then further, prayer is extended here, the second part. Swastina Indro Vruddhashravaha Swastinah Pusha Vishwavedaha Swastinah Tarksha Arishtanemihi Swastinah Bruhaspati Dadhatu. The Dadhatu is a word that goes everywhere. Swastinah Indro Vruddhashrava Indra Swastinah Dadhatu. Indra, Lord Indra, the god of all the lord of all the gods. Indra is the presiding deity of Balam, or the strength, or the arms, or the hands. So may Indra Vruddhashravaha, one of the great fame, because Indra is most famous here, so Indra is the most famous, may he grant Swasti, or the Kalyanam, auspiciousness to us. Meaning that may he give us the strength in our arms so that we can perform the auspicious right actions. Earlier prayer was that may we serve the devatas. How do we serve them? With our hands. So Indra may be propitious to us, may favor us so that with our hands or arms we perform auspicious actions to serve the devatas, to serve the world who is manifestation of devatas. Swastinah Pusha Vishwavedaha. Pushan is the sun. Vishwavedaha, the omniscient. The sun is omniscient because the witness of everything. Therefore, the sun that is omniscient, Swastinah Dadhatu, may also give us auspiciousness, impart auspiciousness to us. Because he is the presiding deity of eyes, and therefore may the sun favor us, that we enjoy the brightness of our eyes. See what is auspicious, because the prayer was, so Bhadram Pashyam Akshabhi Ajatraha. O devatas, may we see what is auspicious through our eyes, only when we enjoy the grace of sun, who is the presiding deity of the eyes. Swastinas Tarksha Arishtanemihi. Tarksha Garuda means eagle, that is the vehicle of Lord Vishnu. Arishtanemihi Akuntita Apratibadda Nemihi Gatihi. So Garuda is that whose movement of flight is unobstructed. So Garuda encounters no obstruction at all in his movement. Similarly also the words flying from the lips of the teacher and falling onto our ears also encounter no obstruction. We listen to the words of teachers exactly as they are. So may Garuda bless us. Swastino Bruhaspati Dadhatu. Bruhaspati is the presiding deity of speech as well as intellect. So may the teacher enjoy also the grace of Bruhaspati so that his intellect functions correctly, his words are right, and may the students also be blessed by Bruhaspati so that the words the teacher bring here the right purport, and our intellect grasps the exact meaning and the purport of what the teacher is teaching. So in short, this Karyakarana Sanghata, this body, mind, sense complex, may it, at least during this period of study, may it be alert, function well, may all the Karanas, or all the organs perform their functions well. And that way, may this study be successful both on the part of teacher as well as on the part of the disciples. So the traditional prayer, Om Shantihi, 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 uttered 3 times, that the 3 obstacles of Shanti are there. Shanti means the peace of mind. The first obstacle is Adhyatmika, arising from one's own individual body-mind complex. The body may be in pain, the mind may be disturbed, and therefore my own self can be the cause of the Ashanti, disturbance of peace. May there be no disturbance of peace from my own individual self. Adi Bhautika, no obstruction from the Bhautika, the world made of the 5 elements. No noises, no disturbance from outside, no disturbance, Devatas also. Adhyatmika, Adi Bhautika, Adi Devika. So let there be peace, peace, peace. Peace is one, but let there be freedom from the obstacles that could possibly arise from these 3 different sources. So with that, the prayer is over. And now we can proceed with the Upanishad. So we are tasked to study the Upanishad along with Bhashya. We don't have a lot of time during this session, so we will see. Overall, we'll look at the Bhashya. We cannot examine every little aspect of the Bhashya, but what is useful to us. Here, Bhashyakara, before beginning his Bhashya, Bhashya means commentary, and Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya is the commentator here. We call him Bhashyakara. And we say that there are many Upanishads, traditionally 108 Upanishads are there, of which the 10 Upanishads are considered the major Upanishads, because Bhagavan Bhashyakara has written Bhashya or commentary upon these 10 Upanishads. Therefore, they are considered the major Upanishads. And Mandukya Upanishad is one of them. Therefore, we have the Bhashya here. Before commencing the task of writing the Bhashya, Bhashyakara himself offers prayer. That's called Mangalacharanam. Mangalacharana means auspicious beginning, an auspicious introduction in the form of prayer. That is called Mangalacharana. And it is traditional to perform any auspicious task with prayer. It is to secure the grace of Ishvara. Because they recognize that Shreyam Sipo Vignani, particularly when you begin any auspicious task, there are likely to be many obstacles to beginning of the task, completion of the task. It is traditional to chant a prayer, to invoke the grace of Ishvara, so that the task that we have commenced is commenced and completed without any obstacles. In this case, the task is of writing the Bhashya. May that be completed without obstacles, number one. And not only does the author want that the text be completed, but wants also that it should go to the right people. So prachaya, it must also find, it also must spread to the right people, to the mumukshus, that may the mumukshus also study this and benefit from that. And ultimately the purpose of writing all of this is that the mumukshus must gain the knowledge Brahma Vidya. All of this is in mind. When the author writes something, he is not just only writing. He has a certain audience, target audience. He wants that this work should reach the target audience and that audience should benefit from that. So all of this is in mind. So the prayer is chanted or performed to seek the grace of Ishvara. So all this is done. Not only the task is completed successfully, but subsequent stages also take place successfully. Bhashyakara does not always perform prayers. We don't always find Mangalacharanam. Brahma Sutra is the primary text of Vedanta, and we do not find any formal Mangalacharanam in comments on the Bhashya of Brahma Sutra. Nor is Brahma Sutra Kara seem to have written a Mangalacharanam. Although the disciples are always great devotees of the teacher, so they will see a Mangalacharanam in one way or the other. Sage Panini, in composing his Vyakarana, does not have written Mangalacharanam. First, Vriddhi Radhaicha, so Vriddhi means let it grow, expand. So that is the auspiciousness. Athato Brahma Jignasa, Atha is Mangala. So that word itself means Mangalam, the sound is Mangalam. And so that way you see some Mangalacharanam where it is not specifically, written. Or in the beginning of the Brahma Sutra Bhashya, Yushmat Asmat Pratyaya Gocharayoho, and so that way Yushmat is you, means Ishvara is meant there. So I guess these great people may not necessarily write specific prayers, but in the mind Ishvara is always there, therefore they need not write in fact a prayer. They enjoy a prayerful mind. Their mind is never away from the remembrance or awareness of Ishvara. So they abide in auspiciousness. So they need not do anything specific for an auspicious beginning, because whatever they do is auspicious. But still, this Mangalacharanam is written by even great people, so that their disciples and their descendants may also get a lesson that they should also do this. Shishya Shikshatham, for Shiksha or educating the Shishya or the disciple. Also, sometimes the Gurus do what is necessary to do. So that way, Bhashyakara has written 2 verses of Mangalacharanam before commencing the Bhashya or the commentary upon this Mandukya Upanishad. So now, you have been given this Mangalacharanam 1 and Mangalacharanam 2. So we will chant these verses. Prajnanam Shufpratanai Sthiracharnikara Vyapibhirvyapya Lokan Bhuktva Bhogan Sthavishtan Punarapi Dishanod Bhasitan Kamajanyan Pitva Sarvan Visheshan Swapiti Madurbhung Mayaya Bhojayannaha Maya Sankhya Turiyam Paramamatamajam Brahmayatannatosmi. The last words are Brahma Yattan Natosmi. Natosmi, I remain saluted to Brahman. Yad Brahma Brahma yat tannatosmi. Yat Brahma tannatosmi. Yat, that which is the most, the Upanishad Prasiddham Brahma. That Brahman, the most famous, the most auspicious, the greatest. Natosmi, I remain saluted. So what is the nature of salutation that someone like Bhashyakara, Adi Shankaracharya offers? Salutation means namaskara, means bowing down your head at the feet of the Lord. So what is the nature of this bowing down? How much do you bow down? What is the symbolic meaning of bowing down? Your head is touching the feet, you are offering your ego, which is the head. How much ego do you offer? You offer ego such that no ego remains. Meaning that this namaskara or bowing down means seeing the identity or oneness between the Lord and the self. So natosmi, I remain saluted, meaning that I see the oneness or identity between Brahman and myself, that Brahman I salute. In the spirit of the identity with Brahman. What's the nature of Brahman? Yad Brahma. That Brahman is described. Prajna, the first line, Prajnanam supratanehi sthiracharanekara vyapivihi vyapyalokan. Lokan vyapya. Brahman pervades all the lokas, all the worlds, pervades all the names and forms, all the objects of the world. In this instance, Brahman pervades all the living beings. Sthirachara nikara. So sthira means immobile and chara means mobile, moving and non-moving, movable and immovable. So movable means animals, human beings, all these beings are movable, living beings. And trees and plants are all immovable living beings. And so, sthira charanikara vyapibhihi, sthiraha vrukshadayaha, charaha manushadayaha. The vriksha, the trees etc. are sthiraha, immobile, immovable. Human beings and other living beings are the chara or movable. Vyapibhihi. So, sthira chara nikara. Nikara means samuha. So, the samuha, the group or the whole of all the living beings consisting of the moving and immoving, or movable and immovable, all living beings in short. Vyapya. Brahman pervades all the living beings, the entire universe. How does it pervade? Brahman is the substratum, the adhishthanam that transcends everything. So all these living beings, and all the objects of the universe, they consist of the objective reality, the vyavaharika satta, what we experience here. This Upanishad will talk of the three states, the waking, the dream and the deep sleep, and that's what is mentioned here. So right now we are enjoying waking state when we experience the objects of the world called the sthula or gross objects of the world. Gross means those which can be objectified with the sense organs. So all these objects that we perceive through sense organs are sthula or gross objects. So this state where we are experiencing the gross objects through the sense organs is called a waking state. We are all awake. Then there is dream state. This is called objective reality, which is equally available for experience by all the beings, meaning that I experience this hall, I experience various things that you equally experience. It is a world available for everybody's experience. The objective reality, vyavaharika satta. There is another state called the dream state, which is my personal world. It is subjective reality. The objective reality, subjective reality, meaning we'll see created by my own mind, where I only have the entrance, you don't have. So that is a subjective reality, personal reality called dream. Third is the deep sleep or the dreamless sleep, where everything is merged into the unmanifest, into the causal state. Gross, subtle and causal. We experience gross objects during the waking state, subtle objects during the dream state, and we all merge into the causal state in the deep sleep state. So Mandukya Upanishad teaches through this analysis of these states. There is waking state and there is a waker and the waking world. Dream state, the dreamer and the dream world. Deep sleep state, the sleeper and the sleep world. So these are the various experiences which make up our life. We said in the earlier class that Vedanta analyzes the experiences of our life, and we do not need an exotic experience or an unusual experience to understand Brahman, because nothing exists apart from Brahman, and therefore Brahman is present in every experience. We said in the morning, unless there is awareness of I, there cannot be any other awareness, and therefore the awareness of self, awareness of Brahman is always there, because it's the nature of Brahman to shine, to reveal itself, manifest itself. So different Upanishads employ different methodologies to analyze, understand the nature of reality. The Mandukya Upanishad employs this method of analyzing the various experiences. In this instance, the three experiences, the three states, the waking, the dream and the deep sleep. Analyzing these experiences and then arriving at or finding out the truth through them. So this Upanishad is unique in that sense that avasthatra viveka, it is a viveka or the discrimination, discernment based on the avasthatra, the three states, waking, dream and deep sleep. The Taittiriya Upanishad is well known for the Panchakosha viveka, the Annamaya, Pranamaya, the Panchakosha. So every Upanishad has its own methodology, let us say. A way of arriving at the truth, understanding the truth, unfolding the truth, let us say. Truth is very much there. Our own self and everything is truth. It cannot be that it is not, and therefore it can be unfolded in various ways, and every Upanishad employs its own way of doing that. So this Mandukya Upanishad teaches us the nature of the self, nature of Brahman, with reference to our experience of the nature of the three states of waking, dream and deep sleep. So that is what we find mentioned here in the Mangalacharanam also. So in the pretext of prayer, Bhashyakara is also conveying very important factors here in this prayer, which we will see. So first let us translate or let us understand simply what this prayer means. Prajnana amshu pratanahi. Prajnanam, consciousness. Prajnanam Brahma is the Mahavakya of Aitareya Upanishad. Jnanam is knowledge. And there is a prefix called prajnanam, means prakrishtam jnanam prajnanam, the exalted knowledge. What is the exaltedness of knowledge? The knowledge we are familiar with, like ghatajnanam, patajnanam, all these, the part knowledge, cloth knowledge, the names, knowledge of names and forms. Except that ghatajnanam is the form of vritti or a spot thought which arises, sustains and subsides. So knowledge as we understand is changing knowledge. Prajnanam, prakrishtam jnanam. In all this changing knowledge, there is knowledge that does not change, that illumines all this, which is content of all the knowledge. Like all the ornaments are nothing but changing, but then the gold does not change. Similarly also, there is substrate of all this changing knowledge. This is all savishesha jnanam, ghata jnanam, pada jnanam, particular knowledge. The particular is possible only when there is universal. So universal knowledge, which is equally present in all of them, which does not change, which is free from arising and subsiding, free from janma and mrityu. So therefore, prajnanam brahma, janmadi, vikriya virahidam, kutastham jnanam. That knowledge which is changeless, devoid of the birth and death, and that changeless consciousness is called prajnanam. That is Brahma. Prajnanam Brahma. The prayer begins with prajnanam, brahmayattam, that Brahman which is prajnanam, to that I remain saluted. So prajnanam, so what is Brahma does? Brahman is doing all of this. Yad Brahma tannatosmi, that Brahma I salute. What Brahman? Yat prajnanam supratanehi. Amsu means a ray. Prajnanam su are the rays of consciousness. Pratanehi, which in fact spread everywhere. Pratanaha vistaraha. So the rays, the omnipresent rays of this immutable consciousness, prajnanam, immutable consciousness. Amsu, the rays. Pratanam, which is all pervading. So therefore, the rays of consciousness that are all pervasive, by those rays, sthira chara nikara vyapivihi, which pervade everything that is sthiram and charam, all the beings that are movable and immovable beings are all pervaded by Brahman. How does Brahman pervade? Through its rays. What kind of rays? The ray of consciousness, like the ray of the sun, falls in a water container or water body and gets reflected. That you can say that the sun through its rays so pervades the water, the reflecting medium. So our mind or antahkarana, the reflecting medium, and Brahman, the consciousness, as though gets reflected, the ray of consciousness gets reflected in our heart or our mind. That's how we become enlivened. So Brahman, just as sun pervades through its rays, so also Brahman as though pervades through its rays, then get reflected. In technical it's called Chidabhasa, reflected consciousness. That's how it pervades all the living beings. And through that pervades, it reflects in my mind, and that reflection through my sense organs then pervades the entire universe. Vyapya lokan. So Brahman pervades the entire universe by first reflecting in the antahkarana, the heart of living beings. And through those living beings, through those sense organs then, the same consciousness is further pervading these objects, and that's how the knowledge of the objects takes place. So that Brahman pervades the entire universe of gross objects by first getting reflected in the intahkaranam, the heart of all the living beings, and through them all the objects. So how does Brahman connect with the objects? In this manner. Brahman does not directly illumine the objects. Brahman illumines them through reflected consciousness, as though through its rays reflected in the heart and then emerging through sense organs. So that's how then Brahman, now that it has contact with the sense objects, bhuktva bhogan stavishtan, that Brahman enjoys Stavishan, Bhogan, Bhuktva. Stavishtan is Thulan, gross. Bhuktva, experiencing Stavishtan, Bhogan, experiencing the gross objects. So how does Brahman experience gross objects? Is a very beautiful way of describing. Brahman cannot experience anything. Brahman doesn't have Bhoktrutvam, Kartrutvam. And still Brahman is the one that enjoys also. How? As Jivatma. So Brahman as though becomes Jivatma by reflected in the antahkarana of the Jivas, and then through that experiences through the sense organs the various objects. That's how Brahman experiences the various objects of the universe in the waking state. Punarapi. How long this happens, All of this is result of karma. In Vedanta, it is said that every experience is the result of karma. Therefore, the experience of the waking state also is the result of those karma responsible for waking state. So, as long as those karmas are functioning, so long the experience of waking state happens. When those karmas are exhausted and punahapi, again, other karmas, the karma which give rise to the dream experience, when they become effective, then dream experience happens. Punarapi, when first the karma of the waking state are exhausted and the karma of the dream state when they become manifest, Dishnod bhasitan kamajanyan bhuktva. Now Brahman experiences subtle objects. Kamajanyan. In the dream state, those objects that Brahman experiences are not these gross objects. We experience the dream state, which is in fact a projection of our own mind. So, Dishana Udbhasitan. The dream objects are all illumined by the intellect. Dhi. Kamajanyan. What determines the nature of the dream? What determines the objects in the dream? Kamajanyan. The various kamanas or the desires that I have, they determine what my dream world will be going to be. Here what is meant by kama, so Dishanodbhasitan, illumined by the intellect of the mind. So mind is the one which has all the samskaras or impressions of the experience of waking state. So every experience leaves this impression, and of those which are the strong impressions, they determine what the dream experience will be. So during the dream, the very strong impressions stored in the mind, they become the basis of mind to project the dream world. So Kamajanyan, meaning that born of the kama or the desires or the impressions which are stored in the mind. Punarvishnod bhasitan kamajanyan bhogan bhuktva. Now Brahman finished the experience of waking state, has gone to dream state, and now what is mind by going to dream state means giving identification of the gross body, subtle body, causal body. So in the waking state now we are identifying the gross body as well as subtle body as well as causal body. What is dream state? When the identification of the gross body is given up, there is identification of subtle body and the causal body. So subtle body, the mind is there, impressions are there, and that mind projects the dream world based on the impressions that it has, which impressions are gathered from the waking experiences. Bhuktva, it experiences that. So Brahman has to do different things to experience different things. It must get reflected, become the jiva, and through sense organs experience the gross objects. Then it must give up the gross idea of a gross body and sense organs and creates its own subtle world and experience those subtle objects. Then Pitva Sarvan Visheshan. All the Vishesha, all the specific things are now Pitva, having drunk. Drinking is effortlessly, Brahman effortlessly moves into a deep sleep state. What is the deep sleep? Nirvishesha avastha. In waking state, where the experience is of this particular experience of names and forms and objects, the gross. In dream also, we experience the particular objects, or subtle objects are there, projections of mind, but still we experience Visheshas, different names and forms. Pitva Sarvan Visheshan. Now Brahman drinks all those Visheshas, all the attributes are drunk, all the specifics are drunk, and Nirvishesha. So that's the state where Brahman experiences nirvishesha, the causal. All the gross and the subtle, the gross are now merged into subtle. The subtle is now merged into the causal, the ignorance. So pitva sarvan visheshan swapiti. So sleep is the nirvishesha, nirvikalpa avastha, where there is no vikalpa, no visheshas. No specific names and forms are there, no even specific enjoyer or experiencer is there. So this vishesha, the devolved of the experiencer, the experienced, experiencing, all of this is now pitva, has been now merged, has been resolved into its cause, namely ignorance. Swapiti, this is called the dreamless sleep, deep sleep. All of this will be explained later on. Yatra supto na kanchana kamam kamayate na kanchana swapnam pashyati, where one doesn't desire anything, where does not see the dream, tat sushuptam. So in the waking state is sthula bhuk. In dream state, sukshma bhuk or pavivikta bhuk. Deep sleep is a madhur bhuk. Enjoys madhurya, sweetness, happiness. Here, Brahman is the experience of happiness. But is Brahman really experiencing all of this? Not really. Brahman doesn't become experiencer. We are experiencers. So Brahman is Jivatma, is a waker. Brahman is Jivatma, is a dreamer. Brahman is the sleeper. Jivatma is a sleeper. Meaning upon Brahman alone is superimposed the waking state, the waker and the waking world. Upon Brahman is superimposed the dreamer, the dream state, the dream world, dream experiences. Upon Brahman is the superimposed the deep sleep state, the deep sleeper, the deep sleep experience. Brahman is a very substratum for all these superimpositions to take place. So, Maya, Madhurabhang, Maya, Bhojyat Naha. Naha Bhojyat, he makes us experience. So, in fact, Brahman makes the Jiva experience the waking state, experience the dream state, experience the deep sleep state. How? Maya, not directly. Through Maya. So, through Maya, Brahman makes us experience the waking, dream, deep sleep state. So now there are three. There is a waker, the dreamer, the deep sleeper. It will also be Vishwa, Tejasa, Prajna. This will be told in the course of Upanishad. So what is Brahman? Maya, Sankhya, Turiyam. Turiyam is Chaturiyam, Chaturiyam. Dvitiyam, Trutiyam, Chaturiyam. So that's how that pratyaya should be. But here anyway that chakara is elided and so we have Turiyam. There is this cha pratyaya, the iya pratyaya. Chatur plus cha or chatur plus iya becomes chaturiya. And adyalopaha, the first letter cha is elided, so we have the turiya, means chaturiya, means fourth. Maya, Sankhya, Turiyam. This Brahma is called Turiyam, is called fourth. Are there four entities? Is waker one, the dreamer another one, the deep sleeper the third one? Not really. Brahman alone is the waker, Brahman alone is the dreamer, Brahman alone is the deep sleeper. But until we know, we think that waker is one, dreamer is another one, sleeper is the third one. With reference to that, Brahman is called Turiyam, the fourth. Maya, Sankhya, Turiyam. This is not a real Sankhya. It is by Maya that people believe that Brahman is fourth. In fact, what is Brahman? Paramam, Param, Amrutam, Ajam. Brahman itself is Param, the most exalted, Amrutam, immortal, Ajam, unborn, meaning that Nirvishesham, Brahman, Yatan, by itself is this, it becomes the substratum. It is like a movie screen upon which various things are projected, so also Brahman is like the movie screen, like the substratum, upon which all the projections of the waking, dream, deep sleep, the waker, the dreamer, the deep sleeper, the waking experience, the dream experience, all of these take place upon the screen, that is Brahman. Itself is what? Param, Amrutam, Ajam. Ever changeless, Prajnanam, the changeless consciousness, which ever exalted, unborn, undying, immortal. That Brahman. So then, how many entities are described here? Looks like waking is described, dream is described, deep sleep, but Maya Sankhya Turiyam. Brahman looks fourfold only because of Maya. In fact, it is one alone. All of this will be explained to us in course of the Upanishad. But here this gives introduction to what the Upanishad contains. That Brahman, I remain saluted. I offer my ego, offer my own self to Brahman, leaving no room or no duality at all. In the non-dual knowledge of identity, I remain saluted. Then there is second verse also, which is not particularly different from the first one, so we'll quickly look at that also. Yo Vishvatma Vidija Vishayan Prasya Bhogan Sthavishtan Paschachanyan Swamati Vibhavan Jyotisha Svena Sukshman Sarvanetan Punarapishane Svatmani Sthapayitva Hitva Sarvan Visheshan Vigdagunganaf Patvaso Nasturiyah. Yo Vishvatma Vidija Vishayan Prasya Bhogan Sthavishtan. Again describing the waking state. So it starts with Vishvatma, starts with the cosmic. It started with the Tvam-pada and in Tat-pada. It started with Tat-pada and with Tvam-pada. That's the difference here. Vishvatma is Tat-pada, Ishvara. Patvaso Nasturiya, the last one is Turiya, this is Tvam-pada. So both of these verses reveal the identity of Tvam and Tat, or Jiva and Ishvara. First one started with Jiva and revealed that to be Brahman. It starts with Ishvara, reveals that to be Turiya or Atma. Yo Vishvatma Vidija Vishayan Prasya Bhogan Sthavishtan. Vishvatma, who is Atma, who identifies the entire Vishwa, is called Vishvatma. So entire Vishwa means the entire universe. Vishvatma, having identified itself with the entire universe. Vidija Vishayan Sthavishan Bhogan Prasya. Again, in the waking state, Sthavishtan Bhogan Prasya, enjoying the gross objects. Vidija Vishayan. Vidija, born of Vidhi. Vidhi means what? The do's and avidhi, the don'ts, vidhi and nisheda. So vidhi means dharma here. So dharma javishayan, the objects that we experience here are born of the karma that we perform. And twofold karma we perform, which can be classified as dharma and adharma. So commentators say that Vishvatma vidija vishayan, Vishvata avidija vishayan. So akara also is understood there. Vidhi means dharma, avidhi means adharma. The Vishaya, the sense object that the experience are, the results of the experience are the results of the karma, the form of dharma and adharma that we perform. In the waking state, experiencing the stool objects, gross objects. Paschat, thereafter, again when the karma of the waking state are over, karma of dream state then become effective, then Anyan Swamad Vibhavan Jyotisha Svena Sukshma Swamad Vibhavan Swamati Vibhavan, permanent existence by one's own intellect. Swamati. Svena Jyodisha Prashya, experiencing by its own light. Svena Jyodisha. Because there are no, in the dream state, there are no light, no luminaries. There are no sun and moon and luminaries which we find in the waking state, and still we find that the dream state is an illumined state. So what illumines the dream? Well, this is very nicely analyzed in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Atrayam Purusha Swam Jyotir Bhavati. The dream state analysis says that the light which is there, which illumines all the objects and all experiences, is the light of consciousness. Therefore, Svena Jyodisha, the illumined by its own light of consciousness. So what is the source of the objects in dream? Swamati Vibhavan, primary existence by its own mind, based on again the samskaras, illumined by its own light of consciousness, enjoying those subtle objects in the dream. Sarvanetan punarvishanahi svatmani sthapayitva. Shanahi, slowly, in a certain sequence or without the sequence also, etan sarvan svatmani sthapayitva. Again, merging all of them into one's own self, which is a deep sleep state. Hitva sarvan visheshan, having all the vishesha, all the attributes. Vigda gunaganaha, the one that is devoid of all the gunas or attributes. Patvaso nasturiya, that turiya may protect us. Protect us by giving us a knowledge. Protect us by removing the ignorance, giving us a knowledge, and making us fit for moksha, and thus enable us to achieve the goal of our life. And that way, that turiya may protect us. So essentially this verse says essentially the same thing, except then, as I said, it starts with Tat Pada and Tvam Pada, that way revealing the identity of Tat and Tvam. So thus the main theme of the Upanishad is Ayam Atma Brahma. This Atma is Brahman, which is identity of the Atma and Brahman, is what is described here. And that identity will be revealed in the Upanishad through the analysis of the different states, waking, dream, deep sleep. And exactly that's what is described here. So this gives us a preview of what the entire Upanishad is going to be. I will continue. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.